Yeah.
Are NIL deals good or bad? That is the question that today we are asking more than ever. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, taking a look at some recent NIL instances that could drastically affect the landscape of college athletics. Before we dive into that, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below and become a part of our team here at the Gridiron Expert. Become a part of what we are building here, something that we can only build with your help. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, make sure to comment your thoughts on this and our future videos. We want to hear from you and we want you to be a part of our team. So please continue to help us out with all the likes, all the comments, all the subscriptions, and don't miss out on any of the content we have for you going forward. So in the last 2 weeks, guys, in the last really week or so, we have seen two, in my opinion, bad effects of the name, image, likeness deals. You know, that was something that came into play a few months ago that has drastically already changed the landscape of college athletics, not just college football, but college athletics as a whole. But this first instance that we want to talk about actually came in college basketball, where Miami guard Isaiah Wong threatened to transfer from the program if he was not given a better NIL deal. Isaiah Wong was the leader of this Miami team that made an unprecedented Elite Eight run, was one of the Cinderellas of this last March Madness. The Hurricanes being a 10 seed, getting all the way to the Elite Eight before falling to the eventual national champions in Kansas. But Wong wanted more money. He thought that his performance over not just this last March Madness, over this last year, but over the last few years with Miami warranted more money. And perhaps it did. But he was already getting an NIL deal. And he threatened to leave if he was not given more. This threat and this announcement received a lot of backlash. And Wong, after discussing with his agent, came out and said, hey, I didn't say that. My agent said that. It wasn't me. But that was after all the backlash that came out, and decided to stay with Miami. And Wong will not be transferring from the program, at least not as of now. Moving on to college football, we just saw where Jordan Addison, the star wide receiver from Pittsburgh, the Biletnikoff winner given to the top wide receiver in the nation, has announced that he will enter the transfer portal. He was supposed to be, again, another finalist for the Biletnikoff Award, hoping to get Pittsburgh back to an ACC championship, and yet he is transferring out because USC allegedly offered him $3 million to come play for the Trojans out in LA, as compared to the $139,000 that Addison was receiving at Pittsburgh. Now, this is a bigger deal than the Isaiah Wong situation, more so because allegedly USC came in and tampered with Addison. He wasn't even in the transfer portal at that point when they offered him this money, when they painted this picture of what he could receive if he left Pittsburgh to come to USC. That's a bigger deal, tampering with someone that's not on the market, than it would be if he was on the market. But shortly after that, Addison, as of yesterday, released a statement saying that he is in the transfer portal. As of this video, we do not know where he is going, but my money would probably be on going to USC to play with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. So the million-dollar question, guys, is this good or bad? Is USC in the wrong for that? Was Isaiah Wong at Miami in the wrong for that? And not just focusing on those two people is going to be a case in a situation that we see time and time again going forward, not just in college basketball or college football, but across all of collegiate athletics with any player that has a major NIL deal. Is this good or bad? Is this good or bad? There are pros and cons to both. There are a lot of people out there that believe college players across all sports, men and women's sports, should be paid money for their name, their image, and their likeness. And I will say that I don't wholeheartedly disagree with that. We see a lot of these major universities making so much money off of their name, their image, their likeness. We saw the video games, the NCAA video games, football, basketball, whatever it is, making so much money off these players' names and images and likenesses, and they weren't getting anything from it. And that was the whole reason that those games got shut down, and hopefully are now going to be brought back, hopefully by next summer. But that was the reason. So we see those, we see them putting out their jerseys. They see them putting out their names on posters and billboards and promoting them everywhere. And these players, for time to time, were getting nothing out of it. And in a way, they do deserve it, although many would go out and say that their payment was a full scholarship that many students across those campuses were not getting. You can make that argument either way. We want to hear that discussion from you down in the comments. But what this is doing is essentially making college athletics as a whole a complete free agent market. It is transforming it into professional sports before these guys even go pro. These guys are going to college to play what many would say is amateur ball, and they're going to make like Jordan Addison, potentially $3 million at USC with a car and a house and everything like that, Addison 100% would get drafted and then make millions more in the NFL. This is creating a free agent market, not just for those within the transfer portal, but also for high school recruits coming straight out of high school. It no longer is about going to the school that is the best for them, that fits their style of play, the best system, where they want to go. It all comes down to where the money is. Where the money is. And for everyday people, obviously that is going to be a factor too. Money is a pretty big deal. It's pretty important. It's how we live. We need it. And so if you get offered a job that's going to pay you more money, you're probably going to go and take it. But what this does is it creates a major rift in college athletics, because let me tell you, your schools like Ohio State and Texas and USC and Alabama and guys like that have the big time donors and have a lot of money, it gives them an advantage in this process more so than those smaller schools. More so than those smaller schools, not just those in the group of five, but even schools within their own conferences, other SEC schools, other Big Ten schools. There's definitely an elite level, not just from a play standpoint, but from a money standpoint among many of these schools, even some within their own conferences. Some will make the argument that says that this situation with the players is no different than that of coaches. You know, we see coaches all the time that are leaving their respective programs to take a better job, whether it's more money or a better situation. Those coaches typically work out a deal in the middle of the season. Take Lincoln Riley, for example. He knew he was going to USC when he coached in his final game at Oklahoma. Take Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. He knew that he was going to LSU when he was still with the Fighting Irish. So coaches do this stuff all the time. Many will say, if coaches can do it, why can't the players do it? I would throw out an argument out there that says, the schools that are hiring certain coaches away typically have to pay a buyout to these schools, or sometimes the coaches have to pay the school they're leaving a little bit of money. There's a little bit more of a more intricate process there than where a player just says, hey, you know what, you're paying me $3 million instead of $140,000, I'm out, peace out, y'all don't have to do anything about it. Pittsburgh loses their star wide receiver, but they get nothing out of it. No one pays Pittsburgh, no one, Jordan Addison does nothing to Pittsburgh, it's just they leave them high and dry. You miss out on a big recruit, you lose a key player. That's what it is. And honestly now, college players as a whole have more power than they have ever had before. And if this process stays the same, college players, not just in football, but in basketball and baseball and gymnastics, whatever it may be, they have more power than they've ever had before. They have more power over their coaches, over their teammates, over their athletic directors, over their university presidents. They have it. Because here's what it comes down to. Take the Jordan Addison situation. Take the Isaiah Wong situation. I got an NIL deal for $1 million. I want more. My sponsor, my university, whatever, they say no. They say, fine, you're not going to pay me? I'm going to go somewhere where I am going to get paid. And that forces their hands. If you're that good of a player, a star quarterback, a star wide receiver, whatever, it forces their hand. They either have to let you go, which would be a disadvantage to the team, or they have to cough up more money to keep you happy. There's no negotiations going on here anymore. It's now just pay me. And if you're not going to pay me, I'm out. And we see those situations happening more so now in college. We've seen it happen time and time again in professional sports, NBA, NFL, whatever it is. And that is essentially what college sports has become. And if no regulations are put on this, we can thank Mark Emmert for that. A long list of things that Mark Emmert, the NCAA president, who thankfully will be stepping down next year, has screwed up. If no regulations are put on that, if no restrictions are put on this, it could essentially ruin college athletics and especially college football as we know it. A lot of people aren't thrilled with this. A lot of people aren't thrilled with the direction that the NIL is going. I think there's a lot of pros to come out of it, 100%. I think a lot of players do deserve this, but it does not need to be done like this. Does not need to be done like this. There has to be a better way around it. A lot of coaches are against it. A lot of fans are against it. A lot of players are even against it, believe it or not. And it needs to be nipped in the bud. There has to be some sort of restrictions put on this. There has to be something that is put on this to make sure that we just don't see all these players just take full control of every team that they're on, and all these people just throwing money at the top recruits and the top transfers in the country and preventing us from having some sort of parity, not just in college football, but in college athletics as a whole. We saw change with the NIL. For a while, it looked good. But it was such a loosely, made deal, loosely made rule, loosely made concept that is all starting to come crumbling down. And again, unless restrictions are put on it, I believe college athletics will be crumbling down with it. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Let us know what you think about the NIL. We'll dive deeper into it over these next few weeks. We want to hear from you. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think about the Jordan Addison and Isaiah Wong situation? Who do you believe is in the right on that? Would you do the same? We want to hear from you. Leave your comments below. But until then, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Become a part of our team here at the Gridiron Expert. We want you to be a part of our GE Nation. But until then, guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.